Hi, so welcome back to Real Auto Reports right here at Real Auto Ranch. We have for you today the real first impressions video on this 2014 Volkswagen Jetta. So we're going to tell you what's changed, what hasn't, and what you might need to know from a first impressions perspective. So let's check it out. Okay, so from the front, what you're going to notice here is, again, these vehicles are not jumping out at you with just exciting design and lots of angles and all of that. No, this is going to be a nice subdued kind of conservative vehicle. It's going to fit with a nice look. It's going to be timeless. It's going to really hold up over the years, but they have done some nice sculpting in here. You have this nice line that comes off the front A-pillar here and gives you some dimension through the hood, straight down. It is German, remember, so everything lines up straight through the grille here. Nice horizontal slats through the grille that then center right here on the VW badge. You have running lights that run along the bottom of the headlights here. Notice this air dam here with this little bit of front fascia. This is all for looks here. And you have to watch it on those curbs, those low curbs, those sleeping policemen even, the speed bumps. Make sure that you don't pull up too far and really damage these front areas here that have all this detail. But it does give the Jetta a little bit more of an aggressive look from the front than some of the previous generations. Although not all that new for 2014, it's just something we like to point out. This kind of adding angles and designs in the front of the vehicles we've been seeing for the past couple years in the design language of today's vehicle. So that's the Jetta from the front. Nothing too exciting in the SE package because this is at the bottom of the range. So let's go take a look at the side and see what it has to offer from there. Okay, so from the side, again, you have this nice subtle design. It's a good looking sedan. The proportions are nice. Actually, when you look at the side of this vehicle, when I first saw it, I thought, well, all right, it's a four-door. It's not all that crazy looking. It's not as exciting as some of the cars that we've been looking at. But when you look at it a little closer and you let it kind of gel with you, it has nice proportions. You have a nice front and back end. You have nice thin pillars back here in the back, so it's not creating too much of a blind spot. Nice kind of flat areas over the doors so you don't hit your head when you get in the back, which is nice. And then you look at the door openings and they are nice size so you can step over them. You have a strong belt line detail here that goes all the way into the curve of the headlights there, all the way around the back, and we'll show you how it wraps into the design of the rear trunk lid. It is nice. You notice how the door handles are actually lower though than the belt line design. A lot of cars, this strong belt line design will go right through the center of these door handles, and they do not on this vehicle. Now, even though this isn't a super high-end version of the Jetta in the SE, you do have the touch door handles so that you can lock and unlock it from the door handles. You have turn signals in the mirrors. So they do still give you some nice features with this tech and sunroof package that we have on this particular SE. You also have 16-inch alloy wheels here, classic VW design, frankly, and they're going to look a little bit small to some people because 16-inch rims, well, we've gotten used to the 17s, 18s, 19s, 20s that you find on the Dodge Chargers even. And even on the BMWs, we've seen increased wheel sizes from the German manufacturers. So being that the VW is kind of lower in the echelons there, 16 is going to be more equivalent to this kind of lower end entry-level sedan from VW. Now let's go take a look at the back and we'll show you the carnivorous trunk space and then keep on going with our walk around. Okay, so from the back, again, we continue with this nice, tidy, conservative design. But what I love about the VW and the German sense of design is that you get this nice strong detail that I talked about on the side, wrapping around and creating this nice top line detail on the back of the trunk lid. It brings it together. It's a nice flat, kind of not overly sculpted car. Again, this VW is going to seem timeless for the next decade because it looks new, but it doesn't look radical. So you could own this car for a decade and people probably wouldn't know what year it is. They would just know that if you take care of it, hey, that's a nice car you got there. So again, you've got nice taillight designs. They've done some updates over these over the years. Of course, your badging. And then you reach back here And see, it's a counterweighted trunk. I love that. You can do it from the key, the switch inside the driver's door, or from that switch underneath the trunk lid. You've got a nice big trunks here. You could say carnivorous, you could say cavernous, you could say full of space, you could say I could get in there, like literally, I can get in the trunk and shut it if I want to, but I'm not going to. I do that on occasion. But what I'm saying is that this is pretty unexpected from the proportions of the car on the outside. You wouldn't really expect that it would be this squared off and this easy to get suitcases and other items in the back of this Jetta, given that it's on the smaller side of a mid-size sedan. So I like that. Now you've got handles here to close the trunk on both sides. Now you do have to be careful because a lot of people want to just grab the top here. If you're kind of particular like me and your car is clean, I don't like people to leave fingerprints on it. But you can kind of whack yourself if you're not careful with how you shut these trunks. But that's true on just about any car that's designed today. They have those same kind of handles. Let's go take a look at the inside, then under the hood, and we'll take it for a spin and tell you what we think from there. Okay, so from the driver's seat here, you're going to find that the niceties inside this Jetta are pretty well up to standard for even more luxurious cars, because you do have this leather-like interior and this nice two-tone cream and black. It gives this a nice light sense inside, even though it is not super high-end. You've got the different colors. You've got that nice satin silver finish across the doors. You'll find it here on the dash and running along throughout the dashboard around the vents here and in the trim rings on the gauges. You'll even find that color trimming the switches of the radio and all of that. It just gives the car a nice tidy sense of class, and it shows the attention to detail that the VW designers have put into the Jetta, no matter what price point you're buying it at. Now, some things I do want to point out are that the seats are a little odd in this vehicle. This lever here that you may not be able to see is actually for the height adjustment. Then you have an electric switch for the seat back adjustment, but it's a manual lever to your right of your thigh, knee area that you pull to move the seat forward and backward. It's just an interesting combination of electric and manual adjustment in this vehicle. You also have a manually adjustable tilt and telescopic column. You have headlights, but they're not automatic in the SE. Power mirrors, we do have the defrosted mirrors though. And you don't have a navigation in this vehicle, but you have a radio with the touch screen and the XM and all of that, so you do have the nicer display unit in this SE. So we like all of those things. We also have upgraded Jetta floor mats in this, nice thick rubber floor mats. So there's some things here with the SE that at $24,000 about, not bad, and with the sunroof, you can have a lot of fun with the wind through your hair and this nice light colored interior in the summer. Let's go take a look at what powers this car though, because in my opinion, that may be the best part of this Jetta. So under the hood, what you're going to find is different than previous generations because there is no longer the option of the 2.5 liter 5-cylinder, that old cast iron workhorse that VW's been using for a long time. Now, ironically, on paper, this new 1.8 liter turbocharged motor is going to seem, I don't know, it's going to seem similar because it gets 170 horsepower in the rating. Well, 170 horsepower though from this turbocharged motor is going to be made at a lower RPM. It's going to be quicker, faster, more sporty feeling, even in this kind of subdued vehicle. Yes, you can catch rubber easily with the automatic from a stop, because once it spools up and drops the hammer on that turbo, it's really going to put you back in your seat. It is actually misleading or surprising how fast this vehicle is, because you get in and you don't expect the Jetta to give you that kind of power. It's not like the old VR6s we used to see. No. This one though is pretty cool. It's not even like a GTI or the turbo diesel versions. So I like it a lot for that. From that perspective, it's got a sport mode in the automatic transmission, and it's also got a manual shift mode, and they are separate. Those are some things that are a little bit surprising on first impression on this bottom of the line Jetta basically. And I like it because at 170 horsepower, you're still seeing 25 miles per gallon in town, 36 miles per gallon out on the freeway, and a combined rating of 29 miles per gallon, all out of a 4-cylinder that does not have stop-start technology. So think about what would happen if you had the start-stop technology in this car. So that's pretty cool. It's a great type of fuel economy for a pretty sporty vehicle in this mid-size category. It may not be class leading necessarily, but it's definitely going to keep your wallet safe at the pump. And with a 0 to 60 time in the manual transmission of about 7.2 seconds, you can imagine that this one will be right there with it. And that means you are rabbiting off to 60 pretty quickly. And we noticed that it has a nice wide range to also get you up to speed in a very brisk time period up to 70, 75, which are speed limits out on our freeways here in Colorado. So there's only one thing left to do, which is to drop this manual rod here, click it back into its thing, and take this thing for a spin. All right, so first impressions on the driving experience of this 2014 Volkswagen Jetta. Well, I, again, think that the best part of this from a first impressions is the power that you don't expect to have in this vehicle. It is a vehicle that when you really get out on the out on the road and get on the accelerator, it'll put you back in your seat. I mean, you can see there that right there is 35, and if I'd really gotten into the accelerator harder, it will grab rubber off the line right away as it spools up the turbo. So there is a little bit of lag. So people who don't like turbos and say, is there lag? From the stop here, that's on the floor, and then you can see it really gets going. So the lag is not bad. It's just you end up getting used to it. You end up working with it so that you know your vehicle, and you know when you need to jump out, that you give it that extra second to spool up. But it's a lot quicker than you would think, and it's not as bad as the previous generation turbos from VW back 10-15 years ago. I knew someone with a 99 Passat with the 1.8T in it, just like this 1.8T, and the difference is significant. You know, today these vehicles, 170 horsepower, lots of good power, and I like it a lot. I think it's a great vehicle. And the thing that you're going to notice in driving it is that it's got a fairly sporty sense to it, even though it's on the softer side of a sporty suspension. It's well balanced. It feels like it's holding the road well and that it's a solid car, yet you're not going to be rattled by all the bumps and lumps in the road. You're going to notice that they're there, but they're going to be greatly softened by the suspension. So it's a nice balance from VW in this entry-level 4-door midsize sedan. We'll have the wrap-up coming up next, so make sure you stay tuned. So that's the Real First Impressions video edition on this 2014 VW Jetta. This is the SE model and will come in right about an as-tested price, or MSRP, of $24,315 and some change. It is a great value for the performance you're getting for the size of the vehicle, but it might leave a little bit to be desired in the excitement category. The excitement factor of this vehicle just isn't all that in a bag of chips, as they used to say. It is really just a conservative, subdued 4-door sedan. It's got a kind of sporty feel to it, but the suspension will be on that softer side. And, well, it doesn't have features like the rear backup camera. There's no navigation in this model. And we don't have blind spot monitoring, cross-path detection, or anything like that, really. But you do have heated seats, and you do have power windows and mirrors and the nice sunroof and great trunk room and some nice features like that auto opening trunk. When you pop the trunk, it actually is counterweight, so it opens all the way up, kind of like our Dodge Charger that we've been reviewing long term. So there are some nice pieces of this vehicle, and if you decide to go up from the SE, you can put all those features on with all the safety and the technology and all of that. So there are some good things, and this is really just trying to be a good, low-priced, entry-level 4-door sedan from VW with a really excellent 1.8-liter turbocharged motor, so you won't want for power at least not at this price point. I'm Jonathan McGrew. This is Real Auto Reports right here from Real Auto Ranch, and we'll see you down the road.